Welcome to the Rotary Club of Raleigh meeting on May 5th, 2025. A great group of folks here. We have a terrific program today. I'm really excited about this program. And we're looking forward to having a number of activities throughout the program. It's very important to at the beginning and at the end of the program. So if we could, let's go ahead and start. First of all, remember, if you have another QR code, it's on the footing over there, or it's up on the screen that you can mark as a ticket. So with that, let's go ahead and read the Tommy for our invitation and pledge.
You're fine. Oh, I'm sleeping.
Thank you very much, President Eric. If people are new today, or if you're a regular, we've got raffle tickets. It's a hot today. If you want to get in, come see me in front. We'll close raffles in a few minutes. But while we're not in with Fred, so if you please rise for our invocation. Remain standing for our pledge. Creator and sustainer of all, we gather today in fellowship to serve our community with open hearts. Grant us wisdom to uphold Rotary's four-way test in all we do, seeking truth, seeking fairness, seeking goodwill, and benefit for all. May our efforts strengthen the bonds of friendship and bring hope to those who we serve. Bless this gathering and guide our actions as we strive to make a positive difference. Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic which stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America. Stand aside.
Oh, you got the house.
It's broadband. We got a new room for our choir. So we have a number of great guests today, and I'll turn over to President Gary to introduce our guests.
Right, thanks, President Eric. We have a few guests. We have any on the back here. Yes. I'm going to start at this table with Susie, who is a visitor. If you don't mind standing up and introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Susie Turner. I'm interested in learning more about Rotary. Welcome, Susie. And Mr. Ira, take the woods apart. Could you please stand up and introduce all of your wonderful guests?
This is family day for the Woods. Ernie Simons, my father-in-law. Ashland Wood, my wife. My son Thomas, who said he was bringing drawing materials today in case I was boring. My sister Carol, and my mother-in-law, Ann Simons, who is praying that I will keep it clean.
Welcome, everybody. I spoke with Thomas before the meeting. He is a basketball player, and all of y'all UNC fans out there will be thrilled to know he is a UNC fan. Oh, as I was speaking to him, Mr. Rob Matry, returning guest from Dix Park. Would you mind standing up and saying hello with a mouthful? I know that was real nice of me.
That's what time to hear it. Delighted to be back, and we're here to say thank you all for a wonderful day. Let me draw off the floor for this tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. And now we're going to take it to one of my favorite parts of Rotary, the membership with Diamante coming up to talk about our membership, and we have the second reading for two potential members in the program. Will go to you.
Thank you, President Eric. All righty, so you know what day it is. It is good old Monday. So, how do we feel out there today? No, you didn't know that it's rolling. How do we feel today?
Good.
There we go. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm glad to be here today. But we do have two second readings we're getting for. I will need Parker and Paul to come on up. Come on up. Yeah. These two good gentlemen are here for their second reading today. The first one I'm going to start with is Parker. Just basically, if you guys didn't know, he wasn't here last week. Parker has two siblings. He also has a dog named Birdie. Parker received his business administration in finance from NC State or Wolfpack, even though I'm not a Wolfpack, I'm Parker, but you do with me, Parker. Look, no, you make it up for it when you get your MBA from Campbell. And yeah, it's not a hard word. He got his MBA from Campbell in accounting, so that's Johnson County, so I'm happy with it. So I appreciate that. Parker's a transportation manager at JB Hunt. Some of Parker's favorite hobbies is golfing, fishing, hunting, exercising, and also investing. But one of these things he loves to do is actually serve his church. And then one interesting fact about Parker, his favorite NBA team is the San Antonio Spurs. Hey, let's go, Parker. Yeah. All right. Next individual we have is Paul. Paul is actually married. His wife name is Amanda Watson, who he said last week, he said that she is smarter than him. And they have two young boys. Basically with Paul received his bachelor's of science degree in advertising and public relations, as well as his master's degree in mass media and communication from Liberty University. Paul is the founder of 1015 Communications. This organization, he helps people and small businesses with their online presence by creating content, providing brand messaging and consultation. Paul uses expertise to help his nonprofit Saks Toys Checks. Paul enjoys hiking, Lego bricks, drawing, and novels. But most importantly, Paul is a cancer survivor who had survived in the late stages. So give it a round of applause for these two young men. So if you know anybody that's interested in the program, please feel free to reach out to me and give me a call, okay? Let's have a great day, you guys.
Thank you, Demonte. Next last step for our two new members, that's very exciting. So fundraising and doing good in the community is something that's very important to us. So I'm going to ask John Case to bring up our representative from Dix Park, and I'm going to ask Treasurer Tom Holder to join them as we have a presentation for them. As you recall, we have our 110th anniversary gala, and we had it at Dix Park, and part of the purpose was to raise funds for them. So we're going to keep that promise today. So I'll turn this over to Tom, or John, who has his info.
Greetings, everyone. For those of you that supported our efforts in the gala at Dix Park for the trolls, thank you very much. I'm here with Rob Nadry. Rob is the chief fundraising guy for Dix Park Conservancy, and we're so grateful that we were able to work out a collaboration with Dix Park in order to have our 110th anniversary gala in coordination with the Dix Park Chapel. It was absolutely lovely. So we have a check for you that we raised $7,500. In addition to that, we had a gala auction item that we have decided to donate to Dix Park Conservancy. It will be somewhere in the headquarters building. And we look forward to visiting you there and seeing the picture and hopefully raising some more money for you in the future. As a gift, picture party gift, we'll have at the back table, Dick's Park sunflower seeds. Everybody should grab a pack and plant them, and stay tuned because we're planning another Dick's Park thing, okay?
Smile, smile, smile. Thank you, Peter. Beautiful. Yeah. Right for the next.
It's such a great partner, as Booker says, it's the end of the, possible, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, so we look forward to doing more. We do have a service project in the community that's coming up. Richard's not here, but I would like to remind you about the Rise Up Against Hunger food package program that's coming up. You would have received an email about that. If you haven't read that yet, please go ahead and take a look at that. Pete has an announcement about the whole media call tournament, which is another Rotary activity. Susie, I want to do the process of the So he has an update. We're partway to our goal, so go ahead. Derek?
Those of you who were here last week, brought this up into the annual Rotary Old Dominion Golf Tournament benefiting the Boys and Girls Club of North Carolina. Is going to be Monday, June 2nd, at 10:30 shotgun. I think we have one team lined up already. We've got myself, I think Mike Brennan, John Pace, and Tom Mulder. Want to get one more team, so we need 4 more folks. So if anybody's interested, please let me know. Don't make me go outside the club to find other people. I'll do it if I have to, but I keep people in the club here to join the team.
You don't want me on that team.
I'm gonna really encourage somebody. Let's get one more person together. I can't tell you, I'll take personally for a minute, Matt Barfield and I rode together. Next time he and I got to know each other, playing against Turkey, great ball for the thing. Building, hang out for us, let one of the ball, when you 4 more people, help a man out up there.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, and continuing with our activities, Eric Stevens, our Assistant District Governor, is up here to remind us about some district news and federal activities and the way we can participate in the completion of the music park program.
Thank you, President Eric. A couple of things. First of all, back to the Rise Against Hunger event this weekend. It's on Saturday morning. There was a link in the newsletter that was broken. Assume that's going to get fixed. Please do go to that link, and please consider, if you can't go or if you can, donate. We're still a little bit short of the funds needed to kind of purchase all the food for that. And so that, the Kiwanis have already done their part. The Rotarians are a little behind, and so we need to kind of step up for the Rotarians. So please go to that link, make a donation, and sign up to volunteer for that one. Speaking of one of the projects that following week, Saturday, May 17th, is the dedication for our music garden. Please go to the link that was in the newsletter that went out today and sign up and sit at the table and be there and greet the young people that are there for the PBS children's events there at the same time. Put in a good word for Rotary, and there's going to be a dedication of the music park. It starts at 11 o'clock. Our district governor is going to speak. There's going to be city council representatives there. It's going to be a wonderful event. Please come, and we still need to sell 2 more raffle tickets in order to kind of satisfy our obligations for that Rotary music.
And we're going to do that right now. So who has $20 on that? Let me see, you got that hand. $20. There's one. Okay, one more to go. Yes, you can charge it to your account. So we got 2 taken care of. 3. All right. Justice Hudson. If you want to, go. Yeah. All right, I'm left with like the air students, that's what I'm thinking. All right, thank you very much. Congratulations, we have met our goal for that. And, we'll let me take this behind you. Hopefully, one of those ones. With that, so we do have our round coming up. So, Tommy, there you go again. And then right after the raffle, he's gonna do $50. And I'll remind you that the buckets on the tables are for the Dementia Alliance of North Carolina. So please drop your dollars or your coins, or there's monopoly money in there. You can write it down on that, put your name on it, and you'll be good. So, Tommy.
Well, if you think you would like to be $95 richer today, then pull out your tickets and see if you can call your number. All right, we'll shake them up very well here. Got a winner? I've got 825-542. 825-5. Kurt Warner, that boy, baby. Congratulations. We'll go ahead and have the all right. Give it the $100. Yeah. Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah, I'm listening to them. What's they doing? They're doing.
I'm mixed up. I didn't mix this with this. Yeah, very good. Back in mine, I grew up in Myrtle Beach, and I was part of a Rotary Club in Myrtle Beach. We had this old fighter pilot guy that wasn't very big, and he was spunking us all, get out, this little Cajun dude. And his name was Coop the Bit. That was his name, right? People were like, did they name him after the car? I don't know.
Do you know how to mute these people?
So Coop always used to say, because he was Cajun, that it wasn't $50, it was let's tom roulette. He'd get his, well, he calls himself, but he'd get his Cajun stuff up there. And he would do tom roulette, collect money from everybody about their celebrations and $50 and all the great things that happen in their lives. So whether you're a member or you're a guest today, break out your wallets, break out your checkbooks. Let's hear some good news. Anybody want to go first? We get us started. Not all at once. I was standing here to one of the goes. Yeah. All right. All right. Very good. Go ahead. Get the chart. What's that? Yeah, we can chart. Oh, yeah. There you go. All right, what's your good news today? What you got for us?
I'm here, it's a good crowd at lunch, and, it's fun.
Yeah, very good. You got a raffle ticket, you might win. All right, great. Pete, come on, show us how it is.
Got $7 here, me and my 7-year-old son with, the Y guys, spring camp at Seafair this weekend. So the first year, big group of boys. Like you've probably done that before, that's my first time, but it's really fun.
The comment on the table was that it was the longest weekend of the year. All right, here we go.
My middle daughter goes to Gilmore High School and is a sophomore, finished up her sophomore year, just got inducted into the National Honor Society. As a sophomore.
Congratulations. This is the good genes on our father's side, I assume. Yeah, very nice.
I was
All right.
gonna say the opposite.
Who else has got some good news for us today? Anybody else have something they'd like to share? Going once? Going twice? That's it, President. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. So coming up, we have some celebration birthdays and anniversaries. We have Louis Rogers coming up, Lucine Sinclair, both of them past presidents, by the way. Tommy is who you just saw, is coming up, the future president, and Martin Wolf. Martin Wolf is very good, and I've seen him for a long time, so some of you other attorneys who run into him, please encourage him to come and see us. We will see him. And then anniversary, Sean, we'll go up every anniversary coming up today. So upcoming events, we have on the 12th, Jose Salada is going to be talking about AI. He's actually going to do an AI demo, we can get everything to work right. And then Dr. Christian Feldman is on stage to talk about the impact on AI on learning in society. So two, do not miss them. Discussions. That's changing so fast, it's remarkable. We won't have a meeting on Memorial Day, and then on the 2nd, we're going to have a meeting where we have celebrated the Girl Scouts in their four-way essays that we did to us. And then Hayman is going to be talking to us about growing a bigger Rotary. So that's what we look for. Just added to the schedule, is something that's on everyone's mind. We see helicopter falling out of the sky, planes crashing into helicopter crashes in the last, planes flipping over on runways in the snow. What's going on with your travel? So we have a representative of the National Transportation Safety Board who's going to come and talk about the current status of those investigations. We can't go into some areas, but he will give you those informed people relative to those and other things and processes of the NTSB as they go along. He arrived in last night about midnight, so he should be back. We're all over. And then no meeting for Juneteenth, so that's the schedule for that. So we have a wonderful program coming up. This is our main program, is recognizing our vocational service leadership award. Mark Packer has been involved in this. Tom Packer, Mark and Tom have teamed on this. Kurt nominated Lon Reed, so you'll be hearing from Tom and Kurt in those minutes. But before I turn the program over to Tom and Kurt for our official recognition, I'm first going to make a point of personal privilege today. As Terry and a number of the others of you know, I'm a huge movie
He's gonna
fan.
tell you one.
And I'm going to use that application to do my own tribute to today's honoree. You all know him as the humorous and outlandish Ebenezer Scrooge in the stage production of Christmas Carol, but that is only a part of his body of work. I'm going to play for you a clip, 2-minute clip, short clip, from one of Ira Wood's more recent theatrical films, The Fox Hunter. And I just rewatched it last weekend and really forgot how good it was and how much I enjoyed it. The movie is about the unraveling of well-built Southern family, which parallels the story of the unraveling of their family-owned newspaper in the 21st century's upheaval of the news business. This scene is my favorite in the movie. It features a young actor named Reese Thompson playing a member of the family, and David playing Wade Wentworth, friend of the family. What a great Southern name, Wade Wentworth, or it should be something like Wade Wentworth. Pay special attention to the latter part of this clip. I call it in my own mind, Ira Wood's tribute is over, North Carolina. You know your grandfather gave me that talk. Your grandfather gave me years ago. You know, Mom? Well, that's my husband, yes. Oh, he lived for the paper. Oh, he lived for the paper. In certain circles, voting is done by placing small models, black and white, into a jar. Now, the point is to receive just one black model, the inductee is denied. I took a chance on you, and I removed the black model for your job. Why? There is a place you never see. They get back to the. I love that scene. So, in honesty to the script and to the movie, Wayne is quoting the words written by somebody else who's in the movie. But that doesn't change the absolute poetry of the movie, so thanks so much for that. But that's the quick tribute I wanted to do, and as Wayne says earlier in the movie, no one gives a damn what us old dogs are barking about. So this old dog will stop barking and bring up the young dogs. Tom Packer will come up and talk about the history of the award, and then Kurt will do this year's presentation. So past President Tom, past President Kurt, I will go very over to you.
Well, thank you, President Eric. I like still being referred to as one of the young dogs. It's my pleasure today, before we hear Kurt and this year's recipient, just to remind ourselves and everybody, our guests and new members, about this award, the Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award. The driving force of Rotary is service above self, and vocational service is the second pillar of Rotary's avenue of service. And the concept of vocational service in Rotary calls on Rotarians to encourage and foster three principles: high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. And for the past 10 years, each year, our club has awarded the Vocational Service Leadership Award, or VSLA, to a worthy community leader. And the purpose of the award is to recognize non-Rotarians in the community who exemplify integrity and high ethical standards in their vocation and use their vocational talents to serve the community. Nominations can only be made by active members of our club. And in 2021, we renamed the award the Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award in memory of our longtime distinguished member, Wilson Hayman, who you see pictured on the screen. Wilson Hayman is a past president of our club and a valued member for many years. He passed away much too soon a few years ago. He's held in such high esteem that we decided to name this important award after him. Past award recipients are noteworthy members of our community and can be seen on the screen. This year, as in the past, we've had many excellent nominees submitted by club members, and I thank you for all your nominations. And all nominees have qualities that exemplify Rotary's motto of service above self. First, we want to thank all of you who submitted names. And the VSLA Executive Review Board, organized and overseen by Mark Hackett, this year and has for many years, had a very difficult task to decide on the recipient. And we want to thank each of them for the commitment, diligence, selecting this year's award recipient. And the review board this year included current President Eric Larson and the following past club presidents: Cindy Roberts, Kevin Summers, Gary Supper, and me. And the award recipient receives a Rotary Club of Raleigh crystal plaque. Our club makes a donation to a charity of the recipient's choice. And he is awarded a Paul Harris Fellow, which includes a pin, medallion, and certificate. And as a reminder, the Rotary's Paul Harris Fellow program, established in 1957 and named after one of Rotary's founders, recognizes individuals who contribute or who have contributed with contributions made in their name of $1,000 or more to the Rotary International Foundation. And these contributions support Rotary's annual fund, Photos Plus, or Approved Foundation grant. This year's Rotary Club of Raleigh Vocational Service Leadership Award recipient has a very long history of exemplary service above self to the Raleigh community. His name was submitted by Rotary Club member and past president Kurt Warner. And after that background, I'll invite Kurt to come up and please introduce our award recipient for 2025. Kurt.
Hi, thanks, Tom. While we're on Wilson Hayman up there, I will tell you, I will never forget Wilson's comment when asked, what did you want to be when you grow up? And he said, I want to be kind. That's pretty good. Well, we might, the recipient of this great award today and a bunch of his family, like I said, the reunion. David's very special. And this will be a lot of fun because he is a man of many talents. And we need to hire him as a choir director because God bless America, never gets something better. That I could recall from our group of loud vocals. So David's the founder, executive director of the Theater in the Park. Now you know that the theater is spelled R-E and instead of E-R. And I had to look that one up to make sure it wasn't just a British thing. It actually, I don't know if it's true or not, but theater with an E-R is a Shakespeare rendition. Theater with an R-E is Chaucer. So if anyone ever wants to know that, which I always ask about things like that. He started as director of the Theater in the Park in 1972. It's located over in Pullen Park. He was born in Rocky Mount and raised in Enfield. He became Enfield's first Eagle Scout. That's a pretty cool. We're hoping that he still has a hometown discount for rubies, cashews, and nuts. See him afterwards for those discount code. He's a graduate of the North Carolina School of the Arts. David is joined with us today with his wife Ashley, his two sons, Ira, and Thomas, and his sister Carol Winstead Wood, and Bernie and Ann Simons, my former retired partners. Welcome all. David wrote and directed the opening ceremonies for the Summer Olympic Festival, the largest single event ever held in North Carolina. He directed the premiere production of the outdoor drama First for Freedom in Halifax, which is really timely with America 250 and coming up on the 75 and 76, the Halifax resolves that have just passed in 75. For 7 years, he served as the artistic director of the Lost Colony, America's oldest outdoor drama, which he didn't know that. His original production, The Capital Idea, was the highlight of Raleigh's bicentennial celebration, which dates Raleigh and David. 4 of his original productions have aired on WRAL TV. 2 of his original plays, Eros in Illinois and Requiem for a King, have had extended runs off Broadway. His script, Requiem for a King, was an option by Motown Productions. Now let's get to the real one. David single-handedly raised the bar of theater and theatrical excellence in the Triangle area, initiating dynamic outreach programming now adopted by many other theater organizations. When Memorial Hall sat largely unused and undervalued, David produced the first series of theatrical productions on stage, beginning a process of rediscovery, which eventually resulted in renovation and expansion that has resulted in the current Martin Marietta Center for Performing Arts. In addition to that, in honor of his many achievements, Raleigh City Council voted unanimously to rename the theater's facility in Pullen Park the Ira David Wood III Pullen Park Theater. In September of 2010, he was inducted into the Raleigh Hall of Fame as joining our Rotary Club, which was inducted, I believe, around that time. For North Carolina, David's starring roles include, these will not surprise you. This is such a road, this is perfect. Including The Man of La Mancha, who played Don Quixote in 3 productions. Funny Girl, he played Flo Ziegfeld. Peter Pan, he played Captain Hook. La Cage aux Folles, George. Oliver, he played Fagin. The Wizard of Oz, my favorite Wicked Witch of the West. Ernie, throw a glass of water on him and see what happens. The Full Monty, he played Harold, of course. Grease, Mrs. Lynch. And The Sound of Music, Captain Von Traub. So check the drinks, make sure they remain here afterwards instead of taking them home for clothing. So the partial list of honors includes North Carolina Award for Fine Arts, the Order of the Long Way Fine, the Halifax Results Award, the Morrison Award, the Distinguished Alumni Award, the University of North Carolina School of the Arts, Distinguished Eagle Scout Award, and the Builder of Bridges Award from the Babcock Center Foundation. He's been presented 3 keys to the city of Raleigh, and honorary citizenship awards from Columbia, South Carolina, and Compiègne, France, and that's a heck of a big keychain. So consistently voted the best local actor in decades of public opinion polls, David's managed to accumulate impressive film and television credits, having appeared on screen with such stars as Christopher Walken. I think David wrote those great words for Walken. Never forget, I've got the fever and the prescription is more cowbell. Natalie Wood, Cliff Robertson, Matthew Modine, James Earl Jones, Burt Reynolds, and Louise Fletcher, among those other stars that he's worked with. Though his list of acclaimed theater roles is unrivaled, David's probably best known for his loving and annually portraying the miserly Ebenezer Scrooge in his musical adaptation of A Christmas Carol, which celebrated its 51st year of consecutive production this past December. With 3 international tours to its credit and having played to over 2 million people, the production is now cited as one of the most successful shows in North Carolina theater history. For years, no Christmas was complete for many of us without A Christmas Carol. It kept me up on current affairs, and often added to my desperate fun and joke portfolio. Who could forget the Marilyn Manson scenes, one of my favorite additions to the deal, or even had it been 10 years ago, maybe, when Ebenezer wakes up and he's got a framed picture of Donald Trump on the back. I think that's one of the biggest fun. But also, David's heartwarming one-man show, Truman Capote's Christmas Memory of David in the Park. That's one of the greatest shows. If you ever got a chance to see that, it really is a one-man show, and it was fantastic. It was David put it on as reminiscing about Capote's lonely childhood in small rural Alabama town, and his cherished friendship with Sue Falk, an elderly cousin who called him Buddy, and whose had a knack for making fruitcakes spiced with moonshine as Christmas gifts for a friend and family. I told David there's not a year goes by with the first snow on the ground. I yell at my wife, Diane. I go, Diane, it's fruitcake weather. So it's become part of the vernacular, at least our family, which he hates desperately. Every time I say it, it's not. David's the author, A Lover's Guide to Outer Banks, Confessions of an Elf, which I want to ask him about a little bit more on that, The Russian Galatea, and his recently published novel, The Bittersweet Voyage of the Golden Ship Hatteras. So hopefully David will tell us a little bit about that, and also what you're up to, of course. He's also a contributing author to Murder in Dealey Plaza, which what we know now that we didn't know then. An award-winning playwright, David's additional state works continue to be produced throughout the United States. So David is obviously exceptional. He's been a vocational leader throughout this community. Everyone knows David Wood. He's the proud father of 3. Evan Rachel Wood was an actress. Ira Davis Wood, 4th, who's taken over the leadership of the acting for Christmas Carol, although David still makes cameo appearances, I understand. And Thomas Miller Wood, the aspiring North Carolina basketball player. David and his wife Ashley remain proud to call North Carolina home. Congratulations to David Wood. David, come up here. I have a couple things and doodads. David, first of all, and then Linda, can you bring that check? This is the hardware. Got the way to it. And it's the Wilson Hayman Vocational Service Leadership Award presented to our David Wilson. Appreciation for your distinguished service to the Raleigh community. May 5th, 2025. That's a little break. In addition, Eric, you want to come? Go ahead. We also have the Paul Harris Fellow. What's unique about this is it's not a Rotarian. This is his second Paul Harris Fellowship Award. Very good. And then finally, the riches still keep coming. We have a big check. Linda, do you want to give me that? Oh, I'm looking here. Where David's requested a charity, it's the boys team charity. Well, hopefully hear just a little bit more about that. We haven't changed. For $500. Thank you for David's recommendation.
Peter.
Real good. There you go. Perfect. David? What's going on? You both do
Speak in the mic.
I'll be a hero.
Well, that's it for me. After that introduction, the sun is going down. It is such an honor to be here with you today and to receive this award. And Wilson, wherever you are, it is an honor to accept this. I feel in many ways unworthy because people have asked me over the course of the 50 years that I've performed the role of Scrooge that this must be a tiring thing for you. You must be worn out at the end of the run. And I said, no, this is probably the most selfish thing I do all year. To stand in front of 2,500 people a night and be loved is a wonderful experience. And even playing Scrooge and saying, "Bah, humbug," and knowing that they know before the evening is over, Scrooge will be transformed, and hopefully a lot of people in the audience as well. So it's a very selfish thing. And it has been a joy to know that over 50 years, we've been allowed to become part of your celebration this holiday season. And every year, I think when people come back to the show, it's like meeting an old friend, and maybe he's gotten a new jacket or a new pair of shoes in the time you've been away. But you come back and you meet somebody that you've known. We've had kids in the show when we started in 1974 who are grown now, parents with kids of their own, and they're back in the show. It makes me feel 2 days older than water when I see this happening. But it's also a wonderful feeling to know that the show can continue to go on. I started out as a vocational agriculture student. I was a future farmer of America, not by choice. That's just what we did in the sixties in Enfield. All the guys took vocational agriculture and the girls took home ec. Those who weren't sure took both, just to cover the basics. And one day, the guidance counselor at my school came up to me and he said, David, you should be somewhere where the other crazy people like to say. And that sounded good. And I said, well, where would that be? And he said, well, there's a place it's a governor's school in North Carolina, but you gotta audition to get in. Well, I said, okay. I went down to our school library to check out some plays, only to find out we only had 2 scripts, 2 theater books in the library. One was a play called J.B. by Archibald MacLeish, based on the book of Job. And the other was an anthology of the best plays of 1947. So I took those 2 books, went home, found monologues in each of them that I liked. I combined the monologues into one audition piece, and that's what I used to get into the governor's school. To my surprise, I was accepted, and this was in '64. And while I was there, this wonderful Italian gentleman came to visit and speak to the students at the governor's school. His name was Vittorio Giannini. And he explained to us that he was going to be the first chancellor of a brand new school getting ready to open in Salem. It was the first school of its kind in the Western Hemisphere that taught dance, drama, music, and academics under the same roof. This is the North Carolina School of the Arts. The legislator in Raleigh immediately stood up and said, I don't see no need to allot money to teach people to pick banjos and toe dance. So we became known as the toe dance school. And we wore that badge of courage everywhere we went. We were placed in an old high school up on the top of a hill in Winston-Salem in the most blighted neighborhood you could imagine. I decided that I wanted to audition for this new school and went there on the recommendation of our drama teacher at governor's school. I auditioned for a gentleman, elderly gentleman with white hair, very distinguished. I didn't know who he was at the time. His name was Sidney Blackman. Now, Sidney, most of you would probably remember from Rosemary's Baby. He played Ruth Gordon's husband, the old warlock in the movie. Well, Sidney was from Salisbury, North Carolina, very famous. You can look him up. He was in Little Caesar with Edward G. Robinson. But Sidney was the one who auditioned me to the School of the Arts. I did my same monologue that I did to get into governor's school, and when it was over, Sidney looked at me and he said, young man, that was very good. But of course, you know, you played defiance on the wrong foot. I didn't know that was a right foot for defiance. So I thought as quickly as I could, and I said, yes, sir, Mr. Blackmer, but you see, I'm a high school student. I'm still young, and I'm not so confident in my defiance. And that's why I decided I would play defiance on my back foot and not my forward. And Sidney looked at me for about 30 seconds. He smiled and he said, that was real good. He knew how quickly I pulled that out of my pocket. Anyway, I went home and I went back to Enfield School and waited to hear. And one day I was sitting in vocational agriculture class and the principal came over to the speaker and he said, "Myron David Wood, please come to the office." Well, right away, you know your goose is cooked. You're trying to figure out what he knows that you did. I left the vocational agriculture building and I walked down this long corridor in the main building. And to add insult to injury, I looked down at the end of this long hall and my mother was standing there. And I went, "Oh, this is bad." When I got to her, I was ready for the blindfold and the last cigarette. I stood there, I looked up and I said, "Mom, what's wrong?" And she said, "Nothing. You've been accepted at the North Carolina School of the Arts. This is the last time I'll see you walk down this hallway." Well, I went back to vocational agriculture. I sat at my seat. And my best friend turned to me and he said, "Hey, what happened?" I said, "I've been accepted at the North Carolina School of the Arts." He said, "What's that?" I said, "I don't know. But it's gotta be better than vocational agriculture." And it was. Except I will say, I quote my vocational agriculture teacher, Harry Willing, God bless him, more than I quote Shakespeare. Harry Willing taught us that you can take so much out of the soil, but unless and until you put something back in the soil, it will eventually become depleted and nothing will grow. So when people ask me, "Why did you stay in Raleigh? Why didn't you go to New York or California?" I say 2 words, Harry Willing. He taught me to stay and put something back into the soil of a state that gave me so much. Governor School, the lost colony out of drama, the North Carolina School of the Arts. Things that made such a difference to me in my life. I was suddenly around young people who shared my love and my passion for the arts. And I no longer had to feel different in a derogatory way because I would rather practice the piano than football. I would not for football and basketball, but it didn't fulfill me like theater did. And by the way, I did have to go to the School of the Arts for 5 years just to learn how not to say theater. Now it's theater. Now I are one. When I had a chance to go to California, it was at the invitation of Andy Griffith, who I met and got to know during my 4 summers in the Lost Colony. I used to babysit Andy's kids, my sister and I actually. They were fun times. And I had an invitation from Andy to come out to the West Coast to appear on a series that he was doing at the time called Headmaster. So I came back to Raleigh and I was waiting to head to California. When I got a telephone call from a gentleman who said, "I'm looking for a young man who wants to change the world, and thinks theater is the way to do it." And I said, "Wow, you gotta give me 5 minutes, I have to make a phone call." And I called Andy and I said, "Andy, I love you for the invite, but I have to stay in Raleigh." I'm then asked to become the first theater arts consultant for the Department of Public Instruction. I got to go into schools all across the state of North Carolina and talk about theater and tell young people who are just like me that they are different, but in a wonderful way. And I get to start drama clubs, theater clubs. And Andy said, "You're right. Take your time. Invitation still open, come when you can." So I stayed for a year in the Department of Public Instruction. And after that, I was asked to come and take over the Children's Theater of Raleigh, which had been founded in 1947. A good year. So I said, okay, they told me, they said, we'd like for you to go to New York City, pick out a rock opera, because we want to do a rock opera. And I said, I don't need to go to New York. Let me go into all of the schools in Raleigh, city schools, do what I'm doing right now, talk to the students, and then let them know that I'll be auditioning after school. And if they're interested, come back to the auditorium after school and audition for a show that hadn't been written, because we were going to do an original rock musical. We had 700 young people audition. Came up with a cast of 200 young people from all over the city. And in 7 days, 12 high school students wrote that musical, book, music, and lyrics. I was asked to come in after the play was written and read the script for the board of directors of the Children's Theater in Raleigh. I did, sat there, read the script. When I finished, the president of the board made an announcement. She said, if the board votes to do this play, I will resign on the spot. The vote was unanimous, and she left. We did this rock musical and got front page in the News and Observer 5 days running. I was called a degenerate, a communist. I was going to be driven out of Raleigh on a rail. But we got standing ovations. This was the best publicity we could have asked for. We got standing ovations after both acts. And the board of directors stood out front with their hands like this, and people just dumped money into their hands. They've never had this experience before. So they said, David, we'd like you to come on board as our executive director. And I said, okay, I'll be happy to do that, but I want to change the whole scope of this theater. I don't want us just to be a children's theater. I want us to be a family theater. I don't want moms and dads to drop their kids off like theater is a babysitting service. I want the whole family to come in and enjoy theater together. So they said, okay, that sounds good to us. What's the first play you want to do? And I said, Shakespeare's Hamlet. In modern dress, outdoors in the Rose Garden Amphitheater. When they got up off the floor, they said, okay, you have $127 to do it. I said, great. And that's what we did. We put on Hamlet in the Rose Garden Amphitheater. Outdoors, I was told Raleigh will not cross the street to see Shakespeare. We played to 16,000 people. They brought picnic lunches and folding chairs and watched Hamlet in modern dress. And I heard stories of 10-year-old kids going to the bookstore at State University asking to buy a copy of Shakespeare's Hamlet. And the lady at the checkout thing was going, do you understand what book you're getting? Yes, we do. We know this story. And they bought Hamlet. And that's how we started. The next year, we did Richard III, Shakespeare's Richard III, in the Meriden Outdoor Amphitheater, and played to 11,000 people on opening night. It was July the 4th. And we were part of Raleigh's celebration of the holiday. And when you take a curtain call with $14,000 worth of fireworks going off over your head, you have arrived. Wonderful, unbelievable. And I remember passing this older fellow who was playing one of the supporting roles in the show. I was playing Richard III, and I was starting to get in place for our next entrance. I passed him sitting in a chair with the young performers in the show sitting in a circle on the grass around him. And he was saying to them, remember this night as long as you live, because you probably will never play Shakespeare again for 11,000 people in a city. And it was true, and it was a glorious night. So with Shakespeare, we decided, let's do a season of Shakespeare. So we started off with Romeo and Juliet. Then we went to the Taming of the Shrew, and by that time we were getting close to the holiday season. And William Shakespeare had not planned a Christmas show. So I said, well, you know what? Let's go to the second best English author. And that was Charles Dickens, in my opinion. Let's do a Christmas Carol. I said, get out of the book. Let's pick all the dialogue we can out of the book. And then we'll take it and transform it into a musical comedy. I want it to be a musical comedy because I want whole families to come together and enjoy their time in the theater over the holiday season. You have to understand too, in 1974, the theaters in Raleigh closed during the holiday. No theater was open. And we had to say, okay, let's be the one theater that opens its doors. So we performed in our home theater in Bullen Park with 240 seats. And opening night, we had to sell the cushions off the sofas in the lobby to accommodate the crowd. After 3 years at Theater in the Park, we were exhausted because we were up to 17, 20 performances. And I said, good gracious, let's move down to Memorial Auditorium where we can play to as many people in 1 week. So that's what we did. And then IBM bought out 7 performances once we moved down to Florida. We were back up to 17 performances before we knew it. But I knew opening night that the show had legs. That means it was going to last. I knew it because of what I felt from the audience. It was a magic that has survived 50 years. Last year, I turned the role of Scrooge over to my oldest son, Ira. And I got to sit in the audience and watch something amazing. I got to watch a legacy. I got to watch something that I knew was going to outlast me. And my 12-year-old, Thomas, is asking me now, Dad, when can I take over for Bubba? So I told my oldest son, Ira, I said, buddy, you better not walk down the stairs in front of Thomas. He's anxious for the role. So, in closing, I just want to say again, thank you for this recognition. It does mean a lot to a vocational agriculture student from Halifax County who found a square foot of the universe that belonged to him, somewhere that he could use the talent that God gave him to help people smile, to help people laugh, and to move people like Scrooge to become better than they were when they walked into the theater that night. So I'm told I might be allowed to come back into the show this year in a supporting role. So I've got my fingers crossed. I'm in good with the director, so we'll see how that goes. Again, I thank you again for this honor. I hope you all know how much it means to me and my family. Thank you so much.
Everything you brought to this community over the years, and the laughter, the thinking, the smiles, and we were indebted to you with the investment. All right, areas, let's conclude this meeting by having the four-way test plan of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Very well, sir. The goodwill of better friendships will be beneficial to all concerned.
Here it is.